Captain on the bridge. Take your station, Lieutenant. Yes, sir. Alright, take us into the nebula. But, sir, are you questioning my orders? No, sir. Taking us in. Hello, team players. This is the final build in my Starship crew party. Today we're making an envoy. So let's dive in. So we're pretty much always going to have cover from the soldier of this party, which means the best leadership style for us is from the shadows. This pretty much allows us to give orders from behind the scenes or from a stealthy position. And eventually, we're going to be able to give orders without ever giving away our position. For our Ancestry, I went with Skittermander. Skittermanders have access to great charisma-based abilities, and we're small and cute. So, it'll be a lot easier for us to talk our way out of situations instead of having to fight. And we're going with the Skitter raised heritage. This allows us to use diplomacy on a bunch of different people with no penalty for those nice little captain's banquets. And we get a bonus to aid people on any skill check that does not have the attack traits. Basically everything but athletic skill checks. Moralize, diplomacy checks, even stealth checks. We get a bonus to because of our heritage, as long as we're aiding somebody else. For attributes, diplomacy is going to be our most important. We're an envoy, that's our main stat. But dexterity is just as important for this build. We want to be like a ninja. Only without the martial capabilities. But not necessarily in a bad way. And as a Starship Captain, intelligence might be important depending on how you want to do this. For skills, stealth is going to be your most important. That's how you're going to give your orders out. But you're also going to need your charisma-based skills like deception, intimidation, and diplomacy. You also might want to pick up computers, thievery, and especially piloting. Can't really be a Starship Captain if we don't know how to pilot the ship. For our level 1 Ancestry feat, I've gone with Dauntless. This will make it harder for enemies to frighten us. Because if we're frightened, we're not going to be an effective leader. And we're taking Watch Out, so we can give our allies a bonus on their armor class, making them harder to hit. For our level 2 class feat, I've gone with Don't You Die on Me. We can get allies up from dying with no penalty, no wounded or anything like that. We can do that once per hour per ally. This combined with our Mystic, my Chief Medical Officer, will mean that this party will be very hard to take down. Moving on to level 3, we'll be taking Toughness because more HP is always nice. At level 4, I've gone with Broadened Assessment. Basically, against our assets, we get a bonus on our stealth checks. This also applies to athletics and acrobatics, but we won't be using those in this belt. At level 5 for our Ancestry feat, we're taking Rebel Scrutiny. Now we can ignore the overeager enthusiasm ability that all Skittermanders get, and instead get a +1 bonus to our sense motive and deception checks to create a diversion or lie. This is a pretty big deal because sense motive is one of the most important skills that a captain can have. And we don't want to be taking a penalty to that just because of our race. We're already not going to have great wisdom, so getting rid of this is important. At level 6, we're going to be taking Hang In There. We can now use diplomacy to grant temporary hit points to our allies, making it that much harder to take them down. Plus, we can now lead by example just by doing our normal stealth stuff. Hiding, sneaking, taking cover, that all counts as leading by example now. Which means even if we do something like our Get 'em directive, we can lead by example without having to shoot. So we can definitely give orders without giving away our position now. At level 7, we'll be taking Die Hard. Harder for us to die. Always a great idea. At level 8, it's Master Plan. We can now allow each ally to re-roll a attack roll or a skill check and take the better results once per day. So now we're the captain that always has a plan. This will definitely help our ship go where no man has gone before. At level 9, we'll be taking the Hush, which is basically just a once per day, easier recall knowledge. After all, we are probably running a ship of exploration, which means recall knowledge is going to be important. And the last feat I'm going to cover in this video is at level 10, Cut 'em Deep. We can no longer fail on demoralized checks, but we can still critically fail. In addition, assets and targets of our Get 'em directive do not become immune to demoralize when we use it. So we can demoralize them every single round if we want, which means permanent debuff on them, which I think is pretty nice. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, or just tear my build apart. I love learning and hearing from viewers. If you're more interested in Pathfinder content, I have a second channel for that. And if you want to talk Starfinder builds or anything else, I have a Discord that you might want to check out. Links are in the description. And if you like my Starfinder content, here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll like. And remember guys, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.